Happy New Year! 2025 was another year of thrills, and unfortunately, a few tragic moments in parks around the world. While theme parks and water parks around the world are statistically very safe, a handful of deaths still drew widespread attention and sparked discussions about rider health, safety protocols, and how we interpret risk in these environments. Reports from around the globe show that most major amusement park accidents in 2025 resulted in injuries rather than fatalities, which is a step in the right direction. The official number of injuries have not come out, but we do know the number of fatalities have gone down this year. It's important to highlight that many deaths associated with parks aren't always directly caused by ride malfunctions. Remember, parks host tens of millions of visitors annually. And while tragic deaths do occur, they remain extremely rare events compared to the number of safe, memorable experiences parks deliver every year. In this episode, I'm breaking down what happened in these few rare cases, how authorities and parks responded, and what it means against the backdrop of modern safety standards in amusement and water parks worldwide. My name is Marissa, your morbidly curious host, and this is Death Kiss Traveler, the only podcast that brings you history, horror, and hauntings at amusement parks. I want to say thank you for an amazing year. 2025 was a very solid year for my podcast. It was the first year it was out, and I couldn't do it without my listeners. 2026 is going to be even better, and I'm excited for things to come. If you haven't already hit that follow button and given me a 5-star review, if you love this podcast, I would appreciate it so much. This is the Full Ride 2025, and it comes with a warning today. Today's episode may not be suitable for all listeners. Listener discretion is advised. Before we talk about individual cases, it's important to say this very clearly. Amusement parks and water parks remain among the safest forms of entertainment in the world. Millions of people ride every day without incident. But 2025 reminded us that rare does not mean impossible. Throughout the years, a small number of deaths connected to amusement and water parks were reported across different countries. Most were not caused by catastrophic ride failures, but by a mix of medical emergencies, falls, drownings, and isolated mechanical or operational incidents. One of the most headline-grabbing accidents was at the newest theme park in the world, and it became the site of one of the quietest tragedies. Universal's Epic Universe has barely settled into its opening year when a man named Kevin Rodriguez Zavala, 32 years old, boarded Stardust Racers, a roller coaster built for speed, force, and controlled violence against gravity. He was riding with his girlfriend. At the beginning, reports had said he'd rode it before, but his girlfriend signed an affidavit saying that this was his first time that day. Stardust Racers is a dueling coaster that reaches speeds of 62 miles an hour. It is intense, and I have rode it, and it did leave me with a little headache. But it is an amazing roller coaster. I will ride it again. My boys rode it in October, and I think they rode it 10 times that day, maybe more. It was their favorite ride. Kevin took his seat. The restraints locked, the train launched, and what happened during those seconds on the track, no one really outside the investigation will ever fully know. Emergency crews were called as guests were ushered away, many unaware that something had gone terribly wrong, just feet from where they stood. The man was transported for medical care, but he was later pronounced dead. The park closed the ride immediately. Speculation exploded. Restraint failure, track malfunction, catastrophic error. But as investigators worked through the scene, a different picture began to emerge. There was no derailment. No broken restraint was ever publicly identified. No announcement of mechanical collapse. And in about 2 weeks, the ride opened again with operation as usual. Witnesses describe seeing Zavala bleeding from his face and leaning over his seat once the coaster stopped. Anna Marshall was a physician waiting in line for the ride. She told investigators that Zavala appeared slouched over and surrounded by blood as the coaster returned to the platform. She said one of his arms dangled over the side and that his thigh bone was broken in half and resting on the back of the ride chair. And so the medical examiner's findings pointed inward, not to the ride, but to his body. The injuries were described as traumatic. Rapid acceleration, sudden directional changes, sustained G-loads that compress organs, strain blood vessels, and push the human body close to its limits. No dramatic failure, no cinematic crash, just a human body overwhelmed by physics. Almost immediately, his death was ruled an accident. The ride reopened and the trains kept running, the lines filled up again. And according to the autopsy report released by the Orange County Medical Examiner, Kevin Rodriguez Zavala died from multiple blunt impact injuries. The autopsy report recently came out and it lists a series of traumatic injuries. Injuries that paint a picture of extreme force acting on the human body. Medical examiners documented deep cuts and abrasions to his skin, along with contusions, bruising consistent with violent impact. Zavala suffered fractures to the left orbital bone around the eye and to the nasal cartilage. More troubling were the injuries to his spine. The report notes a laceration to the intervertebral discs between the C5 and C6 vertebrae in his neck. A tear severe enough to cause bleeding around the spinal cord. His right femur, the strongest bone in the human body, was also fractured. The autopsy findings were reviewed by Dr. David Sugar, an orthopedic surgeon with nearly 3 decades of experience. Dr. Sugar explained that femur fractures of this nature don't happen easily. For the femur to have broken like that, he said, it suggests something was holding the leg in place while the rest of the body was suddenly propelled, most likely forward. He also focused on his neck injury. He said that the only way that happens is with a high energy mechanism, something like severe whiplash type movement. Investigators examined whether the ride itself malfunctioned or if it was something more. According to the sheriff's office, a green safety indicator light showed that Zavala was properly restrained before the ride began. Roller coaster installer Daniel LaVille said that the detail is significant. These restraints are used on roller coasters all over the world, he explained. They're tried, tested, and proven to work. The Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services, which regulates theme parks in that state, confirmed that Universal voluntarily invited the department to observe the investigation. In a statement, the department said Universal was transparent and cooperative, and that the law enforcement procedures were being followed. They called the death a tragic event. And maybe that's the only part of this story that everyone agrees on, because nothing in the investigation pointed to a broken track, a failed restraint, or a catastrophic mechanical collapse. But there are a couple things that we need to take into consideration with this accident. His family and lawyer reported that he had spinal cord atrophy, and from the reports that I could see, he was born with this condition. According to reports, Zavala's girlfriend, who was beside him on the ride, told Marshall, the doctor who was standing in line and witnessed him, that he had metal rods in his back from a previous spinal injury. His girlfriend told investigators that a ride operator had pushed the lap bar down multiple times before it locked into place, and that it seemed a little too tight across their laps. She said Zavala was thrown forward during the ride's first descent, striking his head on the metal bar ahead of them, which I really don't understand this part of the story. Because there are no metal bars around, I'm going to post a picture online. You can come to your own conclusions on this one. But she said that his head hit several more times throughout the ride as she struggled unsuccessfully to hold him back. The sheriff's office noted that the warning signs at the ride entrance cautioned guests about sudden drops and accelerations. It also advises against riding with back, neck, or similar physical conditions, or conditions that might be worsened by the ride. And Zavala's parents had shared that he had fractured his thigh bone, requiring surgery in 2020, and underwent hip surgery following a dislocation in 2010. The medical examiner in Orlando previously had ruled the death an accident, saying Zavala died of blunt impact injuries. The investigative report by the Orange County Sheriff's Office in Orlando said that workers at Epic Universe followed the procedures and weren't careless or neglectful. His death was ruled accidental, and the case is closed. His family sued the park, and they settled on an undisclosed agreement. But this accident has left people divided. Should he have been allowed to ride? Was it his fault or Universal's? And honestly, both sides have compelling arguments. I would love to know your opinion on this. Please comment on my social media or even on this episode. Let me know what you think. Universal did change their policy that you have to be able to walk and get into the ride yourself. So if you are in a wheelchair, you have to be able to get up and walk to the roller coaster and get in unassisted. They also changed the verbiage on the signs around the park. This was not just for Stardust Racers, it was for all the big rides at the parks. And now let's talk about the most visually shocking amusement park accident of the year. It unfolded not in silence but on camera, and everyone posted about it. It was a viral video, multiple viral videos. It happened in Taif, a city in western Saudi Arabia, in the El Haida area, a mountainous region known for tourism and seasonal crowds. On a Wednesday afternoon, guests gathered at a local amusement park to ride the attraction called the 360 Big Pendulum. This is not a small ride. The pendulum was designed to swing riders high into the air, rotating them in wide arcs while suspending them at the end of the massive mechanical arm. Riders were seated side by side, strapped in, feet dangling in a circle. The kind of attraction meant to deliver sustained force, weightlessness, and speed. According to the state media, the ride had already completed several full swings. Then, without warning, the pendulum arm snapped. The video footage that spread rapidly across social media shows that exact moment. The ride is seen swinging normally. Riders are screaming, the structure is moving as intended. And then suddenly, the arm fractures, it breaks in half. The entire passenger section breaks free and falls violently to the ground. Still carrying riders who had no time to react, they were strapped in with nowhere to go. The impact is immediate and chaotic. According to officials, some injured riders received first aid on site, while others were rushed to local hospitals. Authorities did not initially specify how many people required hospitalization, but state media later confirmed that 23 people were injured. Miraculously, no fatalities were reported, but injuries were significant enough to prompt an immediate response from regional leadership. The regional government said that the governor of Taif ordered the amusement park closed and launched a formal investigation into how such a catastrophic mechanical failure could occur. Saudi Arabia actually has very high safety records for amusement parks, and the questions were unavoidable. How did a ride designed to lift and swing dozens of people at once simply break in two? Was it metal fatigue, maintenance failure, design flaws, operational stress beyond what the ride could safely handle? At the time of reporting, authorities had not publicly released details about the cause of the failure, only that the investigation was underway. What made this incident especially disturbing wasn't just the number of injured, it was the visibility captured on video showing just how quickly engineered safety can give way to gravity. And at this point, I still can't tell you exactly why this structural failure occurred. There has been no official reports that have come out. The Green Mountain Resort in Saudi Arabia is open as of today, and when there are updated details on this ride accident, I will let you guys know. I'll keep you updated on my social media. And while 2025 saw very few fatal amusement ride accidents worldwide, the Taif Pendulum collapse stood out as one of the clearest reminders of how close many accidents come from being far worse. 23 people walked away injured, 3 critically injured. But the outcome could have been so much worse. And on to our last story. For much of 2025, Walt Disney World in Florida lived up to its reputation as the most magical place on earth. Millions of guests visited, laughter filled the parks, and memories were made under fireworks and sunshine. I love Disney World, but in the fall and early winter of that year, something unusual and somber unfolded at the resort. A string of guest deaths over a relatively short span of time that drew national attention and left many asking lots of questions. Unlike what most people picture when they hear about tragedies at amusement parks, these were not ride malfunctions or mechanical failures, but we need to talk about them anyways. Instead, the deaths occurred across various locations on Disney property, from resort hotels to campground areas, and they were attributed to medical emergencies, self-alivings, and other personal circumstances. According to law enforcement, reports in local media, the first of these fatalities happened that gained widespread notice happened in mid-October. A 31-year-old woman was found dead near Disney's Contemporary Resort, and authorities later said that her death was ruled as self-aliving. Just days later, emergency responders were called again, this time to Fort Wilderness Campground, where a man in his 60s died after what was described as a medical emergency. The string of tragedies continued when a 28-year-old man died after falling from a high floor at Bay Lake Tower, part of the Contemporary Resort complex. The Orange County Medical Examiner's Office later confirmed the death was ruled a self-aliving. As October turned into November, another loss occurred at Disney's Pop Century Resort. A woman in her 40s who suffered a medical emergency was pronounced dead at the scene. By mid-November, at least 5 people had died across various parts of the Walt Disney World Resort in less than a month. According to official reports and verified media coverage, law enforcement emphasized that the incidents appeared unrelated and unstemmed from a mix of personal health crisis and tragic decisions rather than any single underlying cause tied to the park operations, rides, or attractions. It's worth pausing here and grounding ourselves in perspective, because Disney World welcomes tens of millions of guests every year, and the resort's sheer scale, dozens of hotels, multiple theme parks, thousands of daily visitors, means that rare events may appear clustered when they happen close together. Still, 5 deaths in roughly a month at a location synonymous with joy felt startling to many. Not because Disney is unsafe, because it is so deeply associated with happiness and family experiences. It was a reminder that even in places built for escape and imagination, very real human stories can unfold. Stories that can carry heartbreak and loss rather than fireworks and song. In the wake of these incidents, local authorities and park officials reiterated that there were no safety failures attributed to rides, shows, or attractions connected to the death. Unfortunately, they were just tragedies rooted in an individual's circumstances. As 2025 drew to a close, Walt Disney World would remain a place of wonder for most visitors. but for a few family and friends, it became part of a deeply personal story of loss. A reminder that even the happiest places are touched by the full range of human experiences. And there is another notable accident that just happened a couple days ago at Disney World. At the Indiana Jones stunt show in Disney's Hollywood Studios on December 30th, 2025, a large prop boulder in the Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular show came loose and started rolling towards the audience. A cast member intercepted it and was injured, requiring stitches. The video is online if you want to go watch it. No guests were hurt in the incident because of that employee. And the show's boulder sequence has been temporarily removed. So there are a couple other notable accidents that we should talk about before we wrap up 2025. Although this one is not at a theme park or a fair, it is a ride and we need to talk about it. On August 7th, 2025, a passenger aboard Royal Caribbean's Icon of the Seas cruise ship was injured while riding one of the ship's water slides known as Frightening Bolt, marked as one of the tallest drop slides at sea. A section of the slide is made of acrylic glass, and that panel was shattered while a rider was passing through it, leaving a gaping hole in the enclosed tube and causing laceration injuries to the guest's hands and legs. Emergency medical attention was provided on board, and there are videos captured water gushing through the broken section and passengers shouting for the slide to be stopped. In that video, it looks like somebody fell through, but no one fell through. He was just cut. Following the incident, Royal Caribbean closed the affected slide for the remainder of the voyage and carried out repairs, including replacing damaged panels and later closing water slides across other ships in the fleet for safety evaluations. Unfortunately, the cruise ship returned early to Port Miami, so the technical assessment could be completed to ensure guest safety. This accident highlighted a serious failure point on a high-speed water slide at sea. And it generated discussions around waterslide maintenance and the material durability. And on July 24th, 2025, on the boardwalk at Hershey Park in Pennsylvania, a 9-year-old girl passed away after being pulled from a wave pool. Attempts to revive her were unsuccessful, and her death was ruled an accidental drowning. And last, a woman in her 60s died in October of 2025 after experiencing a medical emergency on Disneyland's Haunted Mansion ride. But authorities believe it was a medical episode unrelated to the ride's operation, with the slow-moving attraction being considered safe, although the official cause of death is pending the coroner's report. Disneyland security provided CPR until the paramedics arrived after she became unresponsive at the ride's exit, and she later passed away at the hospital. Some reports have claimed that it is a heart attack, but I'm not confirming anything at this point. As we wrap up this episode and 2025, I should note that there are quite a few other accidents. This is not a complete list of accidents that happened in 2025, just some of the more notable ones that happened throughout the year. And as I wrap up this episode, it's clear that amusement parks, water parks, and even cruise ship rides bring joy and thrills to millions every year. And most of the time, they are remarkably safe. But 2025 reminded us that rare accidents do happen, whether from structural failures, medical emergencies, or unexpected events. And here's a perspective to hold on to. Rides are built with rigorous safety standards. Inspections happen constantly, and millions of people ride safely every day. The incidents were discussed from Walt Disney World, Saudi Arabia, from Epic Universe to the water slide on Icon of the Sea. They're all the exception, not the rule. So as we move into the new year, enjoy your adventures responsibly. Pay attention to posted warnings and know your limits. And remember that safety is always a shared responsibility between operators, engineers, and every rider. From roller coasters to water slides, may your rides in 2026 be filled with laughter, excitement, and safety. This podcast is written and researched by me, Marissa, produced by Sunkissed Traveler. Are you thinking of a vacation, Disney, Universal, or a Mexico cruise? Wherever you want to travel, Sunkissed Traveler can help. Visit sun-kissedtraveler.com or see show notes for details. Happy New Year, everyone, and here's to a thrilling but safe year ahead. I'll see you next week.